know, so I'll be right back. Also, this will be done on casual mode since, you know, we're just going back for collectibles at this rate. And, well, okay. And before we get started, I would also like to mention the post-game rewards. As you can see, for beating the game on any difficulty, you get a gray jumpsuit, but for beating on an expert difficulty, you get the golden proton pack. Since I did this more on my own, I am showing you what this is here now at the post game. Anyways, for real this time, I will pause and meet you back when I found everything.
Try using it to open the door.
And the first collectible that we missed was over in the hedge maze. Here it is, this old stuffed animal. Now then, if you'll excuse me. For the second artifact that we missed, it was actually right here.
What is this?
Over in this room. I'm kind of surprised that we missed it. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Here's where it is. Weird colored jars. Singing slime. And that, my friends, is every single artifact that we have. What the hell I'm missing to scan it, because I don't know. I know between the 5, I don't even know, like, there's the chef, there's the chef's minions. Oh, do the minions count? Is there like 2 varieties that I'm missing? Because I know that there's like the spider crawler and the spider skeleton and the spider witch herself. Let's...
This is disappointing.
Let's just check. Ghosts, Black Slime Fiend, Ghost Portal, Book Bat, Book Centurion, Library. Alright, so we have the Chef, Coal Golem, Confederate Ghost, Construction Worker Ghost, Cook Ghosts. Is there another Cook Ghost that we need? I could believe there being 2 types. Slimer, Sloth Ghost, Spider Crawler. Spider Crawler and the Spider Witch. We have the Webbed Fiend. So, yeah, hold up. You've been seeing how I've been doing. I am so sorry for making this. I'll pause this. I'm so sorry about it, but it turns out when the chef, it was the pots and pans that I missed. But yeah. So with that all being said and done, we have. I'm going to head back over to the main menu real quick, and with the pots and pans set to our collection, we should have every single ghost scan and every single artifact in our collection. Now, I'm going to head over to the firehouse, and what we're going to do...
shuttered you fraudulent gangsters forever when I had the chance. You know what? I'm going to put an end to this madness.
Shut up, Peck.
Right now. I'm shutting down your containment grid.
Yada, 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 blah, 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 blah.
Permanent license.
You know what? I'm going to pause this, and I'll meet right back with you when we're in the firehouse.
To charge.
So here we are.
Fired heroes.
With
Peck's
this.
gonna pull our license. Get real, Ray. It's the holidays. Nobody in this town's gonna
hey,
be around
neat.
to pull our license till Monday. We got the whole
The
weekend
balloon and the
to
cursed
stop this
mug are right
calamity
here.
and probably half a dozen
That's
others.
kind of cool.
Save the city.
And there are the bell bottoms.
We have time
I
left for
believe
ourselves.
every artifact up to this point is in place since we're doing the redo missions. I do not know where they all are in the firehouse, which is disappointing to my end. But I will say that I am proud of myself, or at the very least, doing this game game and only missing 3 collectibles in total, and like between that, I think everyone can forgive me for not scanning the flying pots and pans, because I assumed that they were all just like the chefs possessing it and stuff. I think people can forgive me for missing that. But anyway, it's time. We're going to read through the entirety of this and this, detailing all the lore that's in here, because this is just the settings menu. This is just statistics. Actually, let's look over this too. Career over here. Played this game for a total of 5 hours and 37 minutes. We had 30,000 steps. Oh, around 30,000 steps and $30,000. We earned around $300,000 and did 400,000 in damages. All right, not too bad. Financial records. Okay, yeah, that's just total money. And there's medical records. Oh, wow. Total number of damage. I've taken a lot. So I have revived my teammates 67 times, and I've been incapacitated 23 times. And between the Ghostbusters, Winston has the least number of incapacitations, being 14. Peter at 21, Egon at 18, and Ray at 22, leading to the total number of teammates incapacitated being 75. In combat performance, I've never eliminated a ghost in the Meson Collider or Overload Pulse, but that's kind of fitting considering you can't. Here's the training tutorials. If you ever want to here are just tutorials, but the game does a good job itself. And here's the objectives list, which just tells you where you need to go. Let's go to Tobit's Spirit Guide. I guess we'll go through all of these alphabetically and read it through. So, let's start with Azat Lord the Destroyer. It's a class 6? Because IV is 4, then yeah, 6. It's a deity, supreme being. It has melee and range attacks. Its weakness is the proton stream and has limited weak points. Azatlor, Keeper of Knowledge, once was a powerful leader in Shandor's cult of Gozer, and as a reward for a lifetime of service, was given eternal life as a transformed demigod. The Twisted Ghost World in the Twisted Ghost World plane. Now golem-like, he clothes himself in dense skin of environmental debris. With the addition of his massive reserves of PK energy, makes him a devastating and dangerous opponent. The Beauty Queen Ghost. It's a class 4 Wandering Possessor. We gotta trap it. Only has range attacks. Its weakness is the proton stream. It stays for a moderate amount of time. Has medium trap resistance and can possess bystanders. Beauty pageants and parades of all sorts have always been a big part of culture in New York City, and beauty queens have been among the city's crowning jewels. Beauty queens hate to be replaced, though, and for some, perching atop thrones and waving to the masses is the high point in their life. In death, they remain desperate for attention and return to reign and be adored all over again in spectral splendor. Bellhop Ghost. It's a class 3 animating specter. You gotta trap it. It has melee and range attack. Its weakness is the proton stream. Its days were pretty long and has very low trap resistance. While old hotels have their dark secrets, the elegant Cedric Hotel has them all trumped. Ever since it opened in 1897, the Cedric has exuded an eerie atmosphere, and an inordinate number of guests and staff have untimely met their ends due to strange accidents and sometimes foul play. Most of them stay forever, drawn to the inexorable force that traps them into the Cedric's many corridors, suites, ballrooms, and service areas. The spectral staff takes great care of the hotel and don't appreciate disturbances other than the ones they create themselves. Black slime is cosmetic one sleep. It's environmental inert. Black slime is encountered in locations of intersection substance between the ghost worlds. It is a dangerous substance formed with ectoplasm supersaturated with negative energy. Black slime is incredibly caustic and will cause severe damage to anyone heedless enough to come to interact with it. Based on its spectral resonance echo, black slime also appears to function as a conduit for PKE energy, and could, if saturated with enough spiritual energy, conceivably act as a ghost portal. Oh. Black Slime Fiend is a Category 5. It's corporeal, melee Russian ambush. Weakness is a slime, it's an ambusher. These humanoid fiends are comprised mostly of PKE-saturated black slime, motivated by seething anger and cosmetic to touch. Black slime fiends are dangerous, if straightforward and unimaginable fighters, but don't be lulled by their apparent simplicity. Black slime fiends are seldom encountered alone. I think I'm gonna skip the category type and behaviors because you can all read that. It's a 5 black slime. Oh yeah, it's never mind. It's corporeal. It has range and rush attacks. Its weakness is slime. It stays as short and its trap resistance is high because you're not supposed to trap these fuckers. These entities are unique among Class 5 ghosts. Unlike other phantoms, the ectoplasm that creates the form of these creatures is infused with black slime. The resulting hybrid is an exceptionally dangerous enemy that can be difficult to overcome. Recent developments have indicated that black slime floaters may not be naturally occurring denizen of the ghost world. Ghost Portal is a Class 1 transdimensional conduit. It's dispersible. Attacks respond with its weakness is slime. These conduits or dimensional rips provide temporary and highly unstable portals between our world and the ghost world. It is not known if these portals are formed in especially dense pockets of black slime, or if the portal forms first and then the black slime follows through the resulting weakened dimensional intersection. Either way, these conduits are inextricably tied to black slime, and the neutralization of the surrounding black slime has been known to close the black slime portal as well. Book Bat. It's a category. It's a Class 1 inhabiting swarmer. It's corporeal. Russian swarms is shock blast. It's a book, but it acts like a bat. They can be very dangerous when flocking in swarms. These bat-like minion spirits have been forced into the mortal plane where they animate books and tomes. Book bats often travel in swarms and are very territorial, attacking when disturbed. Under some circumstances, these Class 1 entities can be coerced or controlled by some more powerful entities. Book Centurion. I'm just going to skip to reading this now. It's not known if the attraction is the books or the actual stored knowledge, but these Class 5 entities favor the same book and scroll-filled locations of that paper constructs are drawn to. Book Centurions are composed of PKE bonded books and papers, but with higher book concentration. Most notably, however, Book Centurions carry a distinctive shield, a concentrated PKE barrier that blocks most directed energy attacks. Fortunately, the capture stream can still indirectly attacking can be used to tear the shield from the Centurion's hand. Book Golem. Golems can bend objects to their will, manipulating them to form portions of their own physically manifested form. PK energy greatly enhances the golem's ability to reconstitute, damage, or destroy portions of its body. This golem was formed from overly energetic PKE charged books in the public library. Candelabrium Crawlers. Candelabrium Crawlers are powered by swarming little varmin spirits who animate seemingly innocent life fixtures and turn them into sinister purpose. These spirits, primarily the imprint of an animal life force that once existed in our physical world, take over simple objects and then force them into a rough copy of their original physical form. Oh boy, Chef de Forest. Chef de Forest was a talented chef on the verge of becoming world famous. The night... I'm sorry. Let me try this again. I got distracted. Chef de Force was a talented chef on the verge of becoming world famous. The night of the restaurant critic came into his restaurant, however, things went poorly. In order to avoid a bad review, the intensely paranoid chef poisoned the critic's dessert course. He hid the poison poorly, though, and it accidentally found its way into the staff's dinner the following evening. The entire staff, including Chef de Force himself, died a horrible, painful deaths. Like the rest of the staff, Chef de Force was imported to New York City and the Cedric Hotel with his kitchen equipment. Coal golems. You see name spirits, are they? Golems can bend onto the will, manipulating them to form portions of their own physical manifested form. PK energy grants the golem the ability to reconstitute, damage, and destroy portions of its body. This golem was formed from PKE charged coal in the New York Public Library's furnace room. What's so scary about a pile of coal? Nothing until it balls up in a massive fist and smacks you with it. Confederate Ghost. These ghosts fighting for the Poindexter's partisan rangers were so dedicated and focused during the battle that when it ended with their deaths, they failed to realize it. Trained to unearningly follow their regimental banner, when that tattered battle flag made its way to the museum's collection, so did they. Unfortunately, they encountered other ghosts loyal to the Union, and the resulting fight has raged ever since. Poindexter's partisan rangers eventually believe that the South will rise again, even if it takes more than a lifetime. Construction worker ghost. The skyscraper and bridge construction crews, brave souls that, since the evolution of Manhattan's skyline, have met their fates in terrible accidents. They have fallen from great heights, been crushed by swinging steel, drowned in vats of seven concrete, and scalded by hot pitch. The city is built on the bones of these victims of on-the-job construction accidents. Now they've all found new careers in deconstruction. Cook ghost. To avoid a scathing review from the famous French chef de forest, spoils the food critics' dessert course. Unfortunately, did a poor job of hiding the poison. All terrible death, yada yada. When the state-of-the-art kitchen equipment was brought and imported to New York by the Cedric Hotel, the ghosts of the chef and now his post-mortal staff unfortunately came with it. Cruster. These animator ghosts never walked the earth as humans. They are ectoplasmic entities that come through interdimensional tears to our world. These creatures seem to personify sloth, and unlike most ghosts, these Class 5 entities don't seem to operate alone. They're almost always seem to be accompanied by another of their kind. Crusto. These animator ghosts never wanted. Okay, this is just the same thing. Cultist. Shandor's horde of Gozer worshippers are drawn from around the world. Shandor cultivated his minions carefully, drawing followers both from the world's most affluent quarters and from the halls of intelligentsia. He promised them all stations of power and glory in the new post-Gozer millennia, while secretly binding them to his own service in life and afterwards. Though fairly powerful entities, these cultists seem to be subservient to other, more powerful creatures. Dead fish flyers. These minor spirits seem to be subservient to a greater entity's will and have been driven to protect it by possessing and controlling a variety of fish market cast-offs. Like other Class 1 swarmers, dead fish flyers are quick-moving, fairly weak creatures that, once disrupted, quickly fade back into the depths of the ghost world. How many do we got? Oh, man. We've got a long way to go. Ectoplasm. A thick, slimy substance, ectoplasm is formed when ghosts interact with the physical world, usually seen as viscous mucus-like slime. Ectoplasm is also encountered in mist-like and even crystalline forms. Ectoplasmic residue. Ectoplasmic residue identifies areas of paranormal contact or interaction. While some ectoplasm can be seen with the naked eye, ectoplasmic residue can only be seen while using the PKE meter enhanced with paranormal goggles. Flying skull. Skulls are scary, especially when they fly around with glowing eyes and try to kill you. These Class 1 swarmers are drawn strangely, but exclusively to skulls, real or imitation. Like other swarmers, flying skulls defend their territory with exceptional vigor. It's best not to trespass unless accompanied by a fully charged proton pack. Hobo ghost. The big city's taken a toll on people, especially those on the fringes of society, and New York is no exception. Many of its wanderers and outcasts have met unfortunate ends, and some of those still remain, attempting to extend those unfortunate ends to others. Kitchen flyer. You fucker, I missed. The restless spirits have been driven to inhabit and control the kitchen's small utensils. Quick moving but fairly weak, these swarmers in substantial forms quickly fade into the depths of the ghost world when dislodged from the objects they possess. Statistically, kitchens are the location of a large number of injuries, especially when they are filled with swarms of attacking utensils. Kitchen golem. Golem can manage the well, manipulating them from the portions of This golem was formed paranormally composed items from the kitchen of a restaurant located in the Hotel Cedric. Librarian ghost. Dr. Eleanor Twitty was the head librarian of the New York Public Library and overseer of its collection and ancient artifacts, stone tablets, and thought-forgotten parchments in March 1924. In March of 1924, Dr. Twitty went missing. The New York Police Department made every effort to find her, including repeated room-to-room searches of the underground library, stacks where she was last seen, but she was never found, alive that is. Now she wanders the stacks of the New York City Public Library, still organizing books and keeping louder library patrons shushed with a bony fingered lips. By most appearances, she is still the same quaint, gentle-looking woman she was in life. Aggravated her, however, she was transformed into a rage-filled monster, and heaven help you if you have any overdue books. Heaven help you if you have any overdue books. Marshmallow Mini. These Class 5 entities are the mischievous spawn of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, a not-so-tasty blend of corn syrup, water, gelatin, tetrasodium pyrophosphate, and evil. I want to eat it. The Opera Diva Ghost. In the popular and long-running Broadway adaptation of the Wagner's epic opera cycle Ring, Brunhild was sung by the world-renowned soprano Carlotta Caprese in her most famous role, while the entire cast was killed when, in a burst of thunderous applause at the end of Carlotta's aria, the old and structurally questionable stage collapsed underneath them. These fat ladies never finished singing. Damn! Like, I'm reading all this, and then I get to the sentence and it's like, by the way, these fat ladies never finished singing. Fucking roasting it, Tobin! Paper constructs. Drawn inexplicably to old libraries and archives, these malicious operations have been known to clothe their inseparable forms with paper, books, tomes, parchments, and even ancient scrolls in order to manifest in and interact with the mortal world. Paper constructs seem to be lesser manifestations that are controlled by more powerful entities. If only print was dead. If only. Where are we at now? We're getting... Pappy Sargassi. Descending from a long, proud line of seafarers and fishermen, Pappy Sargassi attempted to avoid the notoriously unlucky early deaths on the water that plagued his family by pursuing a more landlocked career. In 1950, he opened a restaurant, Sargassi's, and attempted to turn his back on the sea. In later years, he overcame his fear of water and took up fishing. His family's curse caught up with him, or he was the unluckiest fisherman who ever lived, and he died choking on a fish stick while being eaten by a great white shark. I feel so bad for him now! Possessed human. Possessed humans are innocent bystanders, possessed and controlled by Class 3 possessor ghosts. Slime blower use will drive possessor ghosts out of the human victims, but beware, its lingering PK reticence is not enough to prevent possessors from pre-possessing anyone who's already been slimed. Possessed statue. Possessor ghosts can also possess and take control of some statuary mannequins, and are thus often encountering a wide variety of museums as well as far more clothing stores than one would reasonably expect. Fortunately, possessing an animate, non-living object like a mannequin or a statue bindings the possessing spirit to leave that object. Not only is the ghost unable to leave, but it is disrupted when the possessed object is destroyed. So you have to possess a human body to be like a normal human, but if you want autonomy, you can just possess a statue, but you can't leave. Possessor ghost. Miss Murnick, a pragmatist with a vision, opened St. Nicholas rehabilitation mission for wayward angels. The mission took fallen and destitute women off the mean streets and cleaned them up, gave them hope, and trained them for their new careers. St. Nick's provided its desirable charges to the many gentlemen clubs events, fraternity parties, and business conventions that occurred around the city on a regular basis in return for considerable donations. The shrewd Miss Myrna could always spot an opportunity and knew that her customers could not afford to let her word of its excesses get around. These were highly respected and upstanding men in the community. After all, she told them she was willing to remain discreet for a sizable donation. Unfortunately, Miss Murnick failed to realize the length some would go to preserve their reputation, and one night, a gang of Pinkertons paid a visit to St. Nick's. Now Miss Murnick's ghost, and those of her charges, has appeared in many fine establishments and hotels since 1923, but they tend to favor the Museum of Natural History. Huh. Oh. Slimer! Sometimes called Onion Head or simply the Mean Green Ghost, Ray purportedly named this creature Slimer, specifically to annoy Peter, who still carries a long-standing distrust of this creature. Regardless of what he's called, this focused, non-terminal, repeating phantasm personifies gluttony and is drawn to anything edible. While this class 5 full roaming vapor isn't especially malicious, you don't want to get between him and a snack. Use caution when he's hungry, which is all the time. Sloth Ghost. I remember this. This guy right here. He's the only guy you can't scan because you don't get the scanning tutorial in the beginning, so the game gives it to you. And when you read up on him, this made me want to read up on what they had to say about anything else. So, the Cedric Hotel traditionally auctioned off a family Thanksgiving feast and donated the proceeds to charity, usually the St. Nicholas Rehabilitation Mission for Wayward Angels. In 1937, Arbison Morganshire, a wealthy but lonely Epicurean, bid upon and won the feast. On Thanksgiving Day, he arrived to dine alone. The Cedric's manager protested that the feast was intended for more than 12 people. Morganshire insisted that he be fed the entire meal. The manager shrugged and finally relented. Morganshire sat down and ate the entire meal, leaving not a crumb. My compliments to the chef, he said 7 hours later, swallowing the last bite. He died from gastric rupture due to massive overeating. Authorities later found a suicide note at Morganshire's home, outlining that he intended to die while indulging his greatest fantasy. I feel so bad now. Queso died being queso. Spider crawler. A close relative of the venom crawler, spider crawlers are also physical manifestations of the vermin and spirits, though of a different order. Encounter these creatures have only been reported on the ghost plane, where they usually are the heralds of other more dangerous powers. Spider witch. This anonymous woman, the authorities never discovered her identity, spent several years in the 1920s living in the Hotel Cedric. Therefore, for purposes only known to herself and to her master, Ivo Shandor, she lured men into her rooms and murdered them, though it's uncertain if they were killed before or after they were hung from the ceiling and drained of blood. As a reward for her efforts as a member of his inner circle, after her death, Sandor used his substantial powers to elevate her, creating the Spider Witch. Now a terrifying spider-human fusion, she and her insect-like minions protect Shandor's interests in the strange, twisted plane that exists immediately between our world and the ghost world. Stay Puffed! Once only the cartoon mascot of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Corporation, Stay Puft became a giant marshmallow menace when Gozer, the powerful Sumerian god, forced the Ghostbusters to choose the form of his physical manifestation. While they had all tried to clear their heads, Ray just couldn't help it but think of his favorite childhood icon. It just popped in there, he said. Stay Puft was initially defeated when the Ghostbusters crossed their streams at Gozer's portal, resulting in the total protonic reversal. It's not certain why or how Stay Puft returned, but without a portal to the ghost world handy, crossing the streams to defeat it again was probably not an option. Stone Gargoyle. Created when normal stone gargoyles are inhabited by powerful ghost world entities, these Class 5 kinetic animators possess all the inherent strength of their original stone fortified by a large dose of PK energy. Stone gargoyles are strong and dangerous, but also susceptible to taking impact damage. All Class 5 creatures are openly hostile to humanity, and great care must be made when dealing with them to minimize the risk of innocent lives. The Chairman. Shandor and his cult made many powerful connections, perhaps none more so than New York City's most powerful business leaders and power brokers. Shandor used his dark abilities to help each of them get in some state of their careers, and they were indebted to him. They came together publicly as trustees of the National History Museum and privately misused their influence to help Shandor implement and maintain his mandala throughout the city. When they died, each of them returned as guardians to the mandala and Natural History Museum in particular. Their closeness to Shandor's evil regenerated them as ectoplasmic entities. The chairman, formerly known as Cornelius Wellesley, the chairman of International Steel, wielded the most power when alive, and likewise is the most powerful in death, becoming one of Shandor's mightiest servants. The Union Ghost! It's been a while. A local Civil War unit, the New York 87th, Thurbold's Wrong Ways, got lost on the way to battle, wandered in the circles in the coldest winter in East Coast history, and they eventually died to exposure only 30 miles from home. They now haunt the city looking for battle in the museum where it seems they found it. How are you going to diss the non-racist group for not finding the battle? At least Confederates found it. Damn, Ghostbusters. Venom Crawler. Venom crawlers are physical manifestations of vermin spirits that Candelabrium crawlers, having having managed to breach the planar barriers and cross over to our world. Being actual physical entities, venom crawlers are much more powerful and dangerous than their lesser forms and should be treated with caution. And finally, the Webbed Fiend. Outwardly humanoid in appearance, web fiends can draw upon PK energy to alter their appearance in order to present a terrifying visage that cause those with weak wills to flee. As though they trapped between the two worlds, webbed fiends just quickly transition between the ghost world and physical world. That just don't be there when they do. And that's all of Tobin's Spirit Guide read up on. I'm going to post 2 questions in the comments. What was your favorite entry for the Tobin Spirit Guide? And when I'm done reading this, what will be your favorite artifact? Let's look at the Voyaging Case International. Circa 1865. The Voyaging Case International has been appearing in train stations, loading docks, and airports since the mid-1800s. Porters and baggage handlers around the globe whisper its legend, generally regarded as friendly. The Summoner Bell, origin unknown, but reportedly since in the Hotel de Jardin Pentier, just before its disappearance. The hotel, not the bell. How paranormally significant this artifact ended up in the Hotel How this paranormally significant artifact ended up in the Hotel Cedric is anyone's guess, though its impact on customer service cannot be underestimated. Gustav self-service tray. Circa 1893. The fine silver service set purchased a lot from the famed Austrian Hotel de Gustav after it mysteriously burned down. This is the only place from the set known to appear at the Cedric rooms unbidden and unaccompanied. Frightened guests are often unsure as to the proper gratuity for this service. Portrait of G. Sedgwick, circa 1910. When Godfrey McAllister Sedgwick opened his grand hotel, many thought it strange that someone who detested people so thoroughly would open a business where so many people were invited to come. Toaster of Sights Unseen. Circa 1968, Madame D, a powerful but dying medium, cast her estimable power for prophecy into the object of nearest to her. As she drew her final breath, the Toaster of Sights Unseen can answer questions posed about the future. How? No. Stay Puft figure. Circa 1989, a Ghostbusters craze broke out through New York City following the Vigo incident of '89. Souvenir street vendors moved literal tons of unlicensed clothing and cheap knockoff novelties. It's estimated that Stay Puft figures outsold the usually best-selling Statue of Liberty by more than 2-1 that year, even the new wind-up version of Libby. The trend faded almost as quickly as it began, and the sales of Ghostbusters merchandise dwindled. Some remainders can still be found on the streets of Manhattan and the boroughs, and may even be imbued with supernatural elements. And that's all of the Cedric Hotel, so we're a seventh of the way done. Three-Toed Jenkins' Midnight Goose. In circa 1944, the fabled bottomless bottle of Three-Toed Jenkins, a notoriously unrepeated tramp that rode the rails in the 30s and 40s. Legend goes that he was called Speedy Jenkins before he exchanged something dear to him for a bottle of cough syrup that never runs dry. The Ravishing Red Prince, circa 1954, painted by the famed Madame of the Gromeko de Groot. De Groot was infamous for supposedly reusing his own blood and blood of others to construct his modernist masterpieces. This was later proven to be just a wild rumor, however. Petrali's Mischievous Cone, circa 1979, charged with high levels of PK energy as well as strange sense of mischievousness, this ordinary-looking traffic cone has been known to maliciously change position, confusing drivers and racking up an impressive string of bizarre traffic accidents. Homan's Back Low Rise. Circa 1926, American occultist John George Homan commissioned a scale model for a domestic center of evil, Black Low-Rise of Tri, from the Shandor architectural firm. The model was completed, but Homan never returned to claim or pay for it. 5. The Asmodeus Hotline. Circa 1965, there were only 5 production models of Teleco's Red Phone ever made. It's rumored that the phone only completed calls for those about to die. Galliano's Enchanted Tale, circa 1940. The world-famous magician Angelo Galliano had an older brother, Ronald, who was said to be even more talented magician than Angelo. Ronald wasn't good with audiences, though, so took up construction work when he couldn't get regular stage work. Damn. And that's all 6 for Times Square. So that's 2. So next to the library, we're 2/7 of the way done. Seat of April's Fowl, circa 1957. Originally owned by the self-proclaimed wizard and prankster Franklin Laffey Wurst. Wurst felt that the famous whoopee cushion gag, while amusing, needed an update. He supposedly summoned a sub-demon and bound it to a chair, and then invited obnoxious dinner guests to have a seat. To their eventual horror and embarrassment, Wurst was shot and killed by a particularly temperamental victim. So does the seat make you shit your pants? That's fucking funny. Portrait of Eleanor Twitty, circa 1923. Eleanor Twitty, the head of New York Public Library's Special Collections, was murdered by her lover, philologist Edmund Hoover. She denied him further access to Special Collections. Hoover was later revealed as an incorrigible serial killer and executed by the state. Twitty was memorialized as a dedicated librarian that gave her life protecting the book she dearly loved. The Reluctant Reading Lamp, circa 1959. Celebrated novelist Arthur Houston conceived and conducted a research for his new books at this library table under this lamp for 30 years. Severe writer's block gripped him in his 60s and wouldn't let go. Houston's psychic frustration channeled the lamp and resides there now, refusing to let anyone read under its light. 3, 4. Ali al-Balu's Irksome Rug, circa 1256. Antique carpet imbued with the power of flight by minor Persian magus Ali al-Balu. On its maiden flight around his palace, the rug dripped erratically, and the corpulent Eliabu tumbled off somewhere more than 90 feet in the air. He died instantly on impact. Gives a whole new meaning to a whole new world. Featherwell Stocking Chair. Number 5. Circa 1976, Nate Featherwell, an aspiring ventriloquist, had big dreams but not much talent. He spent his life savings on a charm of a voodoo priestess. When used correctly, the spell would bring the wood to life. Nate hoped to use his charm on his dummy, Smuggy, but accidentally worked on the spell in the chair he sat on instead. The chair, alive but ignored, grew jealous of the attention Featherwell lavished on the inanimate Smuggy, and did away with them both in a rage-fueled wood chipper accident. The chair slipped away unnoticed and remains at large to this day. Damn. A pinup calendar of doom, circa 1975. While surveying the contestants of 17 crates of an old stack of photographs, he bought as a lot as an auction. Calendar publisher Werner Gershman came across a treasure trove of photos, a 20-year collection of ravishing pinups from parade queens from New York Thanksgiving Parade. Gershman recognized the gold mine he stumbled upon. A nostalgic pinup craze was sweeping the nation in 75, and he rushed to print the collection as a 16-month calendar. What Gershman didn't know was that the photos, when arranged in a certain order, deciphered a code that pointed towards the true origin of the devil, an origin that, as it turns out, is far less impressive than most people think. Forced Werner to protect this secret for untold generations, dark cultist sect, Vigilant Legion of the Black Pit, realized the calendar had reached the store shelves, too late to stop it. In a last-ditch effort to keep the code secure, Vigilant Legion cast a spell over the crates of calendars, so as soon as the pages would flip and switch contestedly. As it turned out, nobody was really interested in parade queens from the 50s and 60s, and the calendar sold less than a dozen copies. The Vigilant Legion bought up most of them, and Gishman gave the rest to friends and family at Christmas. Embarrassed by their alacrity, the Vigilant Legion of the Black Pit murdered them anyway, just to be thorough. Damn. That's the library, so we're 3/7 of the way there. The Ritual Mask of Bad Advice, circa 1915. Leslie Campbell, niece of archaeologist Professor Gordon Campbell, received a Huxley ritual mask of bad advice in a package from her uncle. It was the last thing anyone heard from him, and the package was a cryptic note: "Don't listen." But eventually, she did. Fucking idiot. Cursed Musket of C. Starkey, circa 1868. Confederate artillery gunner Cecil Starkey deserted his post in the midst of a bloody battle that wiped out his platoon. The last surviving man in his platoon cursed Starkey with his dying breath. The cannon you desecrated will yet find ye. Starkey was killed many years later on a hunting accident, where the witness claimed he somehow fired a 12-pounder cannon shot from his rifle. The shot allegedly bounced from tree to tree, returning to his terrified owner, Cecil Starkey. The Bagged Head of Azathothep, circa 1967 BC. Once part of the mammoth statue of the evil Egyptian god warrior Azathothep, this stone head has never been able to keep its mouth shut. Normally it just breathes heavily and mumbles, but occasionally it will whisper a maddening, sanity-dissolving riddle that has sent more than one unlucky listener into the asylum. Phoenician Plague Vase, circa 1700. BC worshippers of Reza surreptitiously placed these vessels among goods shipments to enemies. When activated, the vessels produce hordes of various plagues to overwhelm and terrorize enemies. The writing on this particular specimen translates to as sacred rat jar. Painting of the Trustees, circa 1936. Painter Ambrose Whitman captured the city's most powerful captions of industry in a moment's solemn reflection of the painting titled The Chairman and the Board of Trustees. Remote Controlled Ecto-1, circa 1987. Created as a part of the merchandising flood that followed Ghostbusters' initial success, this remote-controlled Ecto-1 was a favorite among fans. Judging from its occasional twitching and wheel spinning, this particular car seems to have a run-in with a low-level possessing sprite who has somewhere else to be. That's everything from the museum, so we're 4/7 the way there. The Phantom Flush Toilet, circa 1906, presented to His Majesty Edward VII as a diplomatic gift from Moroccan ambassador. This stunning specimen of engineering and craftsmanship has been a harbinger of disaster and death since the initial casting. Unbeknownst to the ambassador, a Turkish drowning demon was bound to the magnificent throne as a fiendish assassination ploy. An insolent under-butler became the seat's first British victim. When the servant tried to use it before Edward had a chance, the under-butler quickly dragged to his horrible watery doom, and the toilet was quickly removed from the royal palace and thrown away in the rubbish. It has since passed through many hands and households, spawning terror and tragedy in each. Even in this day and age, it is difficult to imagine such a work of beauty so incredibly deadly. Cruel Oven. The origins of this evil cooking device are unclear. What is known, however, is that demons and devils apparently love a home-cooked meal. The Unruly Beard of V. Belescu. Circa 1933, Russian demologist Vladimir Belescu performed exorcisms throughout central Russia in the 20s and early 30s. He never noticed that one of the very minor sub-demons he cast out had escaped his beard. Had escaped into his beard, a massive wild nest of stirred envy in most men upon death. The possessed beard had left Belescu's face and stowed aboard a freighter to the Americas. The beard has a tendency to affix itself to the chins of unknowing victims while they speak to mock them, but rarely does it any real harm. Possessed bell-bottom jeans, circa 1970, rumored to have been first haunted during a seance on the Merry Pranksters tour bus. These jeans have long been a staple of psychedelic supernatural underground. Spotted backstage at Woodstock, caught a grainy 16mm film in the candlelit background of a Haight Osbury Levin, photographed riding up behind the member of a notorious biker gang fleeing Altamont. The walking pants have been around wherever weirdness tragedy strikes the hipster scene. The walking pants are the hippie movement to the Girl on the Road ghost story prior to the resurfacing year. They haven't been seen since 1981. Swiss Death Clock. Circa 1821, the infamous Swiss Death Clock was constructed by Herschel Gluck, a genius but demented watchmaker. It was intended to show the exact time of death of anyone who comes near it. When placed in the firehouse in close proximity to so many past-like enemies, the clock hand spins out of control. Peter uses it as a desk fan. Okay, Peter. You go. Broccoli Queen autobiography, circa 1973. As related in her book, Confessions of a Broccoli Queen, the beautiful Sydney Chalmers came to the big city with big dreams of a modeling contract, and was selected to be Broccoli Queen at the Thanksgiving Day Parade in 1967. Little did she know that would be the pinnacle of her career. She went to Hollywood to make movies, but only appeared in a string of low-grade exploitation films. A life of ongoing wild parties and desperation led her to pen a sexy and scratching tell-all of the beauty industry. Cindy died in a tragic and somewhat suspect hot tub accident. The day the book hit the stands. She never knew that she'd fully found the success she craved, as a book and trusted bestseller list remained there for over 2 years. Not really cursed, but it's a really good airplane read. Damn, they were just interested. All right. And I believe that's everything in the Cedric and the Return to the Cedric. That's 5 out of 7. Oh shit. Oh. Right, we're not at the other levels, so we didn't get to read those 2 entries. I guess we need a new backdrop. Okay, we still got 12 more entries, but we gotta...
Oh, thank God you're here.
Alright, I'll meet you back when we're able to read them. Alright, a bit more deconstructed, but nevertheless, we can still read. So let's go back up to our reading room. I thought this video was gonna be longer than the Henry Stickmin completing the mission video, but I should have also remembered that there was an entire ass game connected to that. Artifacts! There we go! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6. Okay, yeah, we got 6. Let's start with the Church of Gozer songbook. Circa 1919, having resulted in the Dark Church of Gozer and made wanting to increase its popular appeal, Ivo Shandor made attempts to updating ancient Sumerian journeying rituals into modern-day worship songs. The practice of singing for the Dark Church was abandoned soon afterward. Circa 1910, artist and Shandor Vikram Vidam painted this fanciful scene after attending a prestigious fox hunt on Timiat Island. Ghostbusters DVD, circa 2008, Shandor cultists searching for artifacts from the future would reveal an outcome from their plan for world destruction. Retrieved only this sad, transparent attempt at cross-marketing. It's an awesome movie, though, available now only on DVD. Damn, alright. Wheel of Alabaster Wretch. Circa 1796, the Alabaster Wretch was lost with all hands while carrying unspecified cargo to Zanzibar. The ship's manifest crews the uneasy misgivings of the Captain Alfred Gaster. The crew is on edge. We hear the blasted singing from below the decks, both night and day now, but there's no one down there. I have resolved to pitch that cursed Albanian strange shift crates overboard tonight, and if he protests, he'll go too. Number 5, singing slime. The origin of these colorful jars of slime is not known, but it can't be all that bad, right? I mean, like a singing barbershop, right? And the anguish stuffed bear. The origin of this ratty old stuffed bear is not known, but its paranormal behavior of emitting off-putting, though strangely compelling cries of anguish has been periodically heard since the day it was removed from Claus Museum of Taxidermy Curiosities in December 1867. Alright, that was 6 out of 7 levels, so we have the final level to go. The Wrestling Bust of Mosh. Circa 1734, Frederick de Mosh was a damned sneak and was always up to something. His bust, carved by the Italian genius Mascarpone, is the exact same way. Ghostbusters Mug and Balloon. Circa 1989, the Ghostbusters offered their souvenir mug and balloon as a premium service during the comeback phase of their career. It's assumed that one of the escaped ghosts from the containment unit snatched these and carried it to Central Park Cemetery. Even ghosts like to pick up a souvenir occasionally. 3. The Stone Angel Head. Circa 1943, this statue originally resided with many others in a fountain at a quiet piazza. During World War II, a squad of black shirts was brutalizing women and their small children. When one of the children fell, his head struck the rim of the fountain, and he died instantly. The fountain's cherubs stirred to life that moment, wailing and crying, beseeching, "Perish, Ildus perish." Indeed, the stone cherubs never stopped, and made such an awful, pain-filled sound that the fountain led to be demolished by explosives. A single stone angel was gathered up by villagers and hidden in a deep well until Mussolini was overthrown, which was the exact moment the head stopped crying. Ghost Fruit Tree. Circa 1983, this extremely rare and delicate ghost fruit tree was imported from the deepest swamps of Louisiana by horticulturist Fran Abernethy. Abernethy hybridized the plant with other strains that she never revealed to make it harder and easier to grow in slightly less satanic climates. The skull of Ivo Shandor. Conceived that society is too sick to survive, Ivo Shandor created a cult dedicated to bringing about the end of the world. He had more than 1,000 followers when he died, and they made sure he was interred in a dramatic fashion. Following hours of Gozerian rituals, his body was carefully placed in a dramatic and unnerving mausoleum. In the end, however, time and decay did to him what they do for all, with one exception. Though he rests in peace, Shandor doesn't rest in peace, and his skull occasionally lapses into ranting fits and the odd soliloquies on disappointment and faded glory. And finally, Archangel's gallbladder. Circa mid-1300s, an unknown Turkish merchant found this curiosity lying in a field. It has changed hands countless times since then. It has no purpose or use, but instills a sense of well-being, and therefore has been treasured by each of its subsequent owners. There you have it. That is every single artifact and every single entry in Tobin's Spirit Guide. Comment down below which one was your favorite, and until next time, I will say what I usually do by bidding you all a good West Virginia summer, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.